Hello, students. This is going to be your last official lesson on using Google Sheets. There are so many functions and options in Google Sheets, but as a student, you just don't use spreadsheets all that much. You might in science and you might in math. It's just not very common in middle school to use. So we're going to limit how much we are going to be doing with it in this particular course. So a couple of things that I want to do before our last little parts where we run a couple of functions, and that is just kind of tying up some loose ends. I want to visually make this a little bit better. I want the colors to kind of go to a little bit better, and I want to change some font sizes. So the first thing I want to do is change the size of the font. I want to let you know that if you only wanted to change font in a certain part of a spreadsheet or a Google Sheet, you would just select the boxes where you want to make those changes and you can make the size changes. And then if I were to type somewhere else, it would still do the default size, which is 10. But I am going to be adding some other things to the cells on this spreadsheet, and I want everything to be a little bit bigger. So what you would do is in the upper left-hand corner, there's a little empty box, doesn't have anything in it. And if you select that box, it will select all of the cells in the entire spreadsheet. And I'm going to just increase the size here to a nice 16. It just visually matches. I'm not squinting my eyes to look at it compared to the graph, and I just like the way that it looks a little bit better. So now I have this issue of this text that's going off the page. It's going out of this cell. There's a few ways that I can fix that. The easiest way to fix it is I just make this row a little bit bigger. Oops, a little bit bigger, and everything fits. I can go on with my life. If I didn't want to do that, I could also do what's called wrapping the text. And that's going to make the text wrap down a line and go down one line. So I'm going to first select the cell where the text is and make sure that it's showing up in my cell information right here. And I'm going to go into the format section and select wrapping, and I'm going to come over here and select wrap. Clip would mean it's going to completely cut it off. Overflow says, hey, it's just going to go on to the next cell. But I want to visually make that a little bit better. All right, so that makes it halfway better. But then I don't like that in is on one line and minutes is on the other, because in minutes is its own thought. So I'm going to put my cursor right where it is up above, and I'm going to hit the space bar until I know that that's going to end up on the next cell, and then hit the enter button. And now everything is all perfectly packaged and it visually looks great. Then, if I wanted to make even further changes, if you highlight the text that's in the cell indicator up here, you can make changes to the text size that's within a cell. So now I have day, I have screen time, and I have the minutes. If I wanted to go a step further, I have day right on this line and screen time, and I want all my bolds to be together. So I can highlight both of these cells, and now I can go and I can decide where I want the alignment to be. So it says vertical alignment. So if I click on this, I can make it so everything aligns at the top instead of the bottom. Now day and screen time are right by each other. None of these are things that you have to do in your paper. It's just other little options that as an artist and as a technology person that you would want to do just to make it more visually appealing. Okay? All right, so the two things that we're going to do today is we're going to run two functions. And a function over here is like a magic wand. It's like taking a calculator and making instant averages and instant totals. Look at all the different functions we have. We can get the sum, we can get the average, we can count it all up, we can find the biggest number, we can find the smallest number, and on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And if you go into banking or other types of careers where you're going to be doing a lot of data collecting and a lot of data analyzing, you'll be using those. But as a student, you're going to use two functions most common, and that is the sum, where we want to find the total altogether, and the mean or the average. So we need to make space to put this information on our spreadsheet. The first one I'm going to put in is total. And then I'm going to come down here. I need to move my image. So I got to select my image and I'll pull it down just a little bit. So I have total and I have average. So the total is, I want to know my total screen time for the whole week. I can pull out my calculator and I can type in 45 plus 70 plus 30 plus 20 plus 90 plus 110 plus 135. I'm tired just telling you about it. Or I can select this cell, put my cursor, there's no cursor, right in that cell. And I'm going to come over here and say, hey, Google Sheets, run me some magic. I want to get the sum. Remember, the sum is the answer to an addition problem of a bunch of data. And the spreadsheet's going to say, great, what do you want to add up? I don't need to type stuff in this little box. I can say that I want it to be B2 through B8, but all that typing, right? Instead, I'm going to select one of the cells. I'm not going to let go. I'm going to drag it all the way through the data. And I'm going to say abracadabra and let go. And you can see that the data showed in the bottom there in orange. I'm going to hit the enter button and voila, 400. Took a lot less time. Probably took more time for me to tell you about it than it did to do it. The next thing I want to do is find out the average. So if I wanted to know, like, hey, maybe I had a goal next week that I wanted to spend only 350 minutes. Maybe I want to set myself a goal to have less screen time. All right, well, let's try for only 350 minutes. Then I would have information from the previous week to go by. Well, another thing that I can do is figure out about how much per day. Well, I have some outliers, you guys. I have 20 minutes one day, and then I have 110 minutes, like almost 6 times as much on the weekend. But I want to find out the average anyway using my totals. So I will put my clicker right in the cell next to where I want that information to show up. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to select average. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight all of my data, make sure I don't get the total in there. I'm going to highlight all of my data, and then I'm going to hit the enter button. 57 minutes per day. So another way that I could manage myself is say, all right, well, I'm going to have less than an hour every day. My average is less than an hour. If I do less than an hour every day, I'll probably reach my goal.
One thing that you might want to do with your data, depending on what it is that you're collecting, you might want to leave out an outlier. So, say you have some data, let's just say Thursday was like 5 minutes, and I knew that that was going to drastically pull down my average. Watch what happens if I put 5. Watch what happens to my average. It's a formula. If I were to add more data, that formula would change as I went. I'm going to turn it back to 20. So back to the original information there, what we can do instead, so say I wanted to find this out, but I wanted to leave out Thursday, or maybe I wanted to leave out Saturday because I was watching a video and I don't want to bust myself for going a little over 100 minutes. What we would do instead is when we do the average, we're going to select one and we're going to click on it. We're going to hold down the control button. Control is a universal way on computers to be able to select things in a set, but not everything in the set. So I'm going to hold down the control and I'm going to click the boxes that I want to include. And when I do that, you can see how the formula that's right here and also shows up right here, it doesn't show like a range, it shows specifics. So if I let go of that control button and hit the enter, now My average is closer to 63 because I took out this one piece of data. You don't have to do that. You could do it for your own sake just to see what that's all about. Okay? All right. So the very last thing I want to show you how to do in order to clean up a spreadsheet is to take away all this business over here, all the things we don't need. I'm going to select the J column, and holding the Shift button, I'm going to go all the way to the end. Shift, so just like Control is an option for me to select different things in a set, Shift is a way to say everything in between. Hold down the Shift button, and I can go under the File menu and hit Delete. I can hit the column, delete columns J through Z. I can also just left click and delete the columns. So if I deleted them, now it just cleans it up. Now I just kind of have white space over here. It looks like, okay, now I'm cutting it up, I'm tidying it up. And I can do the same with my rows. So I'm going to pull up my image. While I'm here, I'm also going to color. I'm just going to color code a couple of things. Let's just say we'll keep it yellow. So I got my screen time, just keep it yellow. And then I'm going to select the first row that doesn't have any information in it. Same thing. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. By the way, there's 1,000, so you probably want to use the scroller over here. And I'm going to select the button. I'm going to hit Shift. This time I'm just going to right click. It says delete rows 24 through 1,000. Yes, please. And now I have a nicely organized little piece of spreadsheet here. The last thing I want to do, you said that 3 times, Miss Van. This is really the last, I promise. I don't like visually how all this is just kind of squished together right here. I want to make a little bit of a border. So I got 2 options. I can either select this and go under the File menu and make some insertions, but it's easiest just to right click or 2-finger click on a Chromebook, and I'm going to insert a column to the left. I'm going to, while I'm there, kind of just take away, hit the reset so all the color goes away, and then I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay? And if I really wanted to go a step further, okay, Miss Van, now I'm getting annoyed. Well, I'm going to select all of these, Shift, and I'm going to choose to merge them, but I can't choose to do that, so just kidding. And if I really wanted to do one last thing, I could take away all these lines. Miss Van, however, did you do that? Well, I'm going to select all of those rows, go under the format, and I am going to merge the cells. It says merge vertically. Now I made one big space. You want to see that happen again? Great, let's do it up here on this row. And I'm going to go under format again, and I'm going to merge, but this time I'm going to merge horizontally. So I'm going across. Pretty cool, huh? All right, at this point, you are done. You are going to go back to Accelerate, and you are going to read what it is that Miss Van wants you to turn in for this last Google Sheets activity.